The crystalline form of Ambassador Kizeth shimmered in the early morning sunlight as they descended from their diplomatic shuttle onto the grounds of Earth's Defense Academy. Their translucent appendages shifted colors from deep azure to uncertain violet, reflecting their mixed emotions about this diplomatic assignment. As the representative of the Stellar Alliance, Kizeth had visited numerous military training facilities across 17 star systems, but Earth was different. It was the newest addition to the Alliance, and the most puzzling. "Welcome to the Global Defense Academy, Ambassador Kizeth," Admiral Sarah Chen said, extending her hand in the human greeting gesture. Kizeth had studied this custom and awkwardly extended a crystalline appendage in response. The Admiral's grip was firm but careful, acknowledging the alien dignitary's more delicate physical structure. "Your hospitality honors us," Kizeth responded through their translator, their form brightening to a more diplomatic shade of blue. "Though I must admit, I expected something more. Advance for your premier military training facility." Admiral Chen's smile widened slightly as she gestured toward the campus. "Appearances can be deceiving, Ambassador. Shall we begin the tour?" The first signs that this visit would challenge Kizeth's preconceptions appeared immediately. As they approached what looked like a simple physical training field, the ambassador's sensors detected complex quantum fields emanating from beneath the dirt and grass. Students in simple exercise attire ran obstacles while holographic scenarios played out around them, their movements simultaneously training their bodies and interacting with complex virtual simulations. "Our cadets learn to operate in multiple realities simultaneously," Admiral Chen explained, noting Kizeth's shifting colors of surprise. "We find it essential that they maintain physical awareness while engaging with advanced systems." Kizeth's attention was drawn to a young cadet who had paused in her run. Without any visible technology, she called out, "Training interface, adjust gravitational variance by 0.3. The quantum field shifted subtly, and the obstacle course's difficulty increased. The cadet resumed her run, her movements adapting smoothly to the enhanced gravitational pull. "But where is her neural interface?" Kizeth asked, their crystalline structure vibrating with confusion. "How is she communicating with the system?" "We developed a different approach," the Admiral replied, leading them toward a classroom building. "Instead of relying on implanted technology, we trained our students to develop natural electromagnetic sensitivity. The human brain, with proper training, can detect and interact with quantum fields directly." This revelation sent ripples of surprised magenta through Kizeth's form. The implications were staggering. While the Alliance relied heavily on cybernetic enhancement for such interactions, humans had found a way to evolve their natural capabilities. Inside the classroom building, Kizeth observed another contradiction. Students sat at simple wooden desks, their surfaces appearing completely analog. Yet as they passed, Kizeth's sensors detected sophisticated molecular computers embedded within the natural grain of the wood. A student was solving complex spatial equations by simply tracing their finger across the desk's surface, the wood grain itself serving as an organic computer interface. "You hide your technology within primitive materials," Kizeth observed, their tone carrying both admiration and unease. Admiral Chen shook her head. "We don't hide it, Ambassador. We integrate it. The wood's natural patterns enhance our quantum processing capabilities. We find that maintaining connection with natural materials while working with advanced technology creates more adaptable operators." As they continued their tour, Kizeth's internal diplomatic report was already forming. How does one explain to the Stellar Alliance that Earth's seemingly primitive attachment to physical training and natural materials wasn't a weakness, but rather a sophistication that their own civilizations had never considered? The ambassador's crystalline form shifted to a deep shade of contemplation as they realized this was only the beginning of their visit, and already their understanding of human military advancement needed serious revision. Dawn painted the sky in shades of amber as Ambassador Kizeth arrived for the second day of their inspection. Their crystalline form resonated with the early morning frequencies, a time when most Stellar Alliance training facilities would still be in their rest cycle. Yet here at Earth's Defense Academy, activity was already in full swing. "You begin before your sun rises," Kizeth asked Admiral Chen, their form flickering with puzzlement. "The darkness presents additional training opportunities," the Admiral replied, gesturing toward a group of cadets assembling on what appeared to be a simple field. "Watch." The morning exercise began with what the Admiral called a warm-up, though to Kizeth it looked more like an endurance trial. Cadets moved through a series of increasingly complex physical movements while reciting stellar navigation coordinates. Each correct coordinate triggered a holographic representation of the star system above their heads, creating a dancing galaxy of light in the pre-dawn darkness. They're calculating complex spatial mathematics while undergoing physical stress. Kizeth's surface rippled with amazement. How do they maintain accuracy? "Humans often think more clearly when in motion," Admiral Chen explained. "We've found that combining physical activity with mental challenges actually improves performance in both areas." The morning sun finally crested the horizon, and with it came an unexpected change. Dark clouds rolled in, bringing heavy rain. Kizeth instinctively moved toward shelter, but stopped when they noticed none of the cadets had interrupted their training. "Surely we'll pause until the weather clears." Kizeth's form shifted to a concerned purple. Admiral Chen smiled. "Ambassador, space doesn't offer perfect conditions. Neither does our training." As if to emphasize her point, a group of cadets transitioned seamlessly into what appeared to be a new exercise. They began using the rain itself to enhance their training, the falling water creating temporary holographic interfaces that they manipulated with practiced ease. Their movements guided the water droplets into complex patterns, each formation representing different tactical scenarios. "The molecular structure of water makes an excellent computing medium," a young cadet explained, noticing Kizeth's interested gaze. "We're practicing quantum field manipulation using natural elements. Would you like to observe closer?" Kizeth moved forward, their sensors detecting the subtle electromagnetic fields the cadets were generating. Each student was creating their own microgravity well, using it to control the rain around them. The precision required would have demanded extensive cybernetic enhancement among Alliance species, yet these humans were achieving it with nothing more than their trained neural capabilities. "But what happens when the rain stops?" Kizeth asked. "We adapt," the cadet replied with a smile, demonstrating by switching instantly to using the moisture in the air itself. "Any environment provides tools for those who know how to use them." The morning continued with more surprises. Kizeth watched as students transitioned between exercises that seemed to defy conventional military training logic. They practiced ancient martial arts alongside quantum entanglement manipulation, their movements flowing between past and future with disturbing ease. When equipment malfunctioned, deliberately, Kizeth later learned, the cadets adapted instantly, turning the limitations into advantages. As the morning session concluded, Admiral Chen turned to Kizeth. "Your species uses crystalline structures for data storage, correct?" Kizeth's form brightened with pride. "Yes, our natural forms make us excellent data repositories." "Fascinating," the Admiral replied. "Humans are exploring similar principles. We've discovered that our cellular structure can be trained to store and process quantum data. Every cadet you've seen today is not just practicing physical movements. They're also reading and writing quantum information into their own cellular memory." Kizeth's form flickered rapidly as they processed this information. The implications were staggering. While the Alliance had spent millennia developing external technology, humans had found a way to evolve their own biological systems into living quantum computers. And this was just the morning training session. "Shall we continue to the advanced classes?" Admiral Chen asked, her smile suggesting that Kizeth had only begun to understand humanity's unique capabilities. The classroom Kizeth entered alongside Admiral Chen seemed deceptively simple at first glance. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, illuminating rows of wooden desks where cadets sat with a curious mix of ancient and modern tools before them. Some wrote in paper notebooks with traditional ink pens, while others manipulated holographic displays that shimmered above their desks. Today's lesson, announced Professor Martinez, a tall woman with silver-streaked hair, will focus on integrated systems thinking. Her words triggered a subtle shift in the room's quantum field, something that KZeth's crystalline form detected with fascination. The professor continued, "Please activate your neural enhancement modules." KZeth expected to see cadets reaching for external devices or activating implants. Instead, the students simply closed their eyes for a moment, their brainwave patterns shifting in ways that KZeth's sensors could detect, but not quite understand. "Humans have no neural implants," Admiral Chen explained quietly. "What you're witnessing is the activation of trained neural pathways. Our scientists discovered that the human brain could be conditioned to function like quantum technology." A holographic star system materialized in the center of the room, showing a complex space battle scenario. "Your challenge," Professor Martinez announced, "is to devise a strategy using only pre-industrial technology to achieve the same tactical advantage shown in this modern scenario." KZeth's form shifted to a confused orange. "But that's impossible," they protested softly to Admiral Chen. "How can primitive tools match quantum weaponry?" A young cadet raised her hand and stood. "Permission to demonstrate, Professor." At the professor's nod, the cadet approached the hologram. Using nothing but a simple compass and a piece of string, she began to demonstrate how ancient seafaring techniques could be adapted to predict and counter the movement patterns of automated spacefighters. "The principles of navigation remain constant," the cadet explained, her voice confident. "Whether guiding a wooden ship through ocean currents or a starship through gravitational waves, the underlying mathematics are similar. By understanding the basic principles, we can adapt any tool to serve our purpose." The demonstration continued as other cadets contributed their insights, each showing how seemingly obsolete technologies could be repurposed for modern warfare. KZeth watched in growing amazement as students transformed simple mechanical concepts into solutions for complex quantum-level problems. Suddenly, the room's power went dark. The holograms vanished, and the quantum fields dissipated. KZeth's form pulsed with alarm, but the cadets remained perfectly calm. Without missing a beat, they switched to their paper notebooks, continuing their tactical analysis using pencils and rulers. "We call this resilience training," Admiral Chen said, noting KZeth's reaction. "Our cadets learn to operate at peak efficiency regardless of the technology available to them." Professor Martinez moved through the classroom, reviewing the students' work. "Remember," she addressed the class, "technology is a tool, not a crutch. Your greatest weapon is your ability to understand fundamental principles and adapt them to any situation." The lights returned, and with them the quantum interfaces, but KZeth noticed something remarkable. The cadets didn't immediately switch back to the advanced technology. Instead, they continued using both methods simultaneously, creating a seamless blend of old and new techniques. "There's an old Earth saying," Admiral Chen shared with KZeth, "knowledge is power. But we've learned that the true power lies not in the knowledge itself, but in understanding how to apply it across all technological levels." As the class concluded, KZeth watched the cadets gathering their supplies. Quantum tablets sliding into bags alongside paper notebooks, ancient mathematical tools nestled next to modern computing devices. Each student seemed equally comfortable with every tool at their disposal, representing a level of adaptability that the ambassador had never encountered in any other species. "Your next generation of defenders," Admiral Chen said, "will be equally capable of commanding a starship or surviving alone in the wilderness. We believe that true advancement doesn't mean leaving the past behind. It means building upon it." The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the Academy's simulation field as Ambassador KZeth and Admiral Chen approached a group of cadets preparing for their adaptability assessment. The air hummed with anticipation, and KZeth's crystalline form detected unusual energy signatures emanating from the testing grounds. What we're about to witness, Admiral Chen explained, is our most challenging second-year evaluation. We call it the chaos scenario. Before Kizeth could inquire further, a loud alarm blared across the field. The cadets immediately snapped to attention as their instructor, Major Rivera, stepped forward. "Your mission is simple," the Major announced, her voice carrying across the field. "Establish communications with the orbital station and coordinate planetary defense against an incoming threat. You have 1 hour." She paused, a slight smile playing at her lips. "Oh, and all your quantum technology will fail in approximately 30 seconds. Kizeth's form flickered with disbelief. "But that's not possible. The orbital station requires quantum channels for communication. Without them..." Their protest was cut short as every piece of advanced technology on the field suddenly went dark. Quantum interfaces disappeared, neural enhancement fields dissipated, and even Kizeth's own scanning systems experienced interference. The cadets, however, showed no sign of panic. Instead, they immediately began gathering materials from their surroundings. Kizeth watched in amazement as they stripped bark from trees, collected different types of soil, and began arranging metallic objects in precise patterns on the ground. "What are they doing?" Kizeth asked, their form shifting through shades of confusion. "Watch," Admiral Chen replied simply. One group of cadets had created what appeared to be a primitive radio antenna using natural materials. They had somehow identified trace elements in different soils that could conduct electricity, using them to create basic but functional electronic components. Another team was using the crystalline structure of tree sap to create a basic quantum resonance chamber. "Impossible," Kizeth whispered as their sensors detected a faint but growing quantum field emerging from the makeshift devices. "They're rebuilding quantum technology from organic materials." "Humans have always excelled at working with what's available," Admiral Chen noted. "We discovered that many natural materials have quantum properties. Our cadets learned to recognize and utilize these properties without relying on manufactured technology." The most surprising development came from a third group who had begun using the metal from their uniform buttons to create a series of small reflective surfaces. By precisely calculating angles and atmospheric conditions, they were creating a makeshift optical communication system with the orbital station. As Kizeth watched, the disparate elements began working together. The natural quantum field amplified the optical signals, while the primitive radio array provided backup coordination. Within 45 minutes, the cadets had established reliable communication with the orbital station using nothing but materials found in their immediate environment. "This is beyond adaptation," Kizeth observed, their crystalline structure vibrating with a mix of awe and unease. "Your students aren't just surviving technology failure. They're rewriting the rules of what's possible with primitive materials." Major Rivera approached the observation area, her expression satisfied. "The key isn't the materials, Ambassador. It's understanding the fundamental principles of how the universe works. Once you grasp those, anything can become a tool." As if to demonstrate her point, one of the cadets had begun using Kizeth's own crystalline resonance to enhance their communication signal, turning the ambassador's natural form into an impromptu quantum repeater. The sensation was disconcerting but undeniably impressive. "We find," Admiral Chen added, noting Kizeth's reaction, "that the best defense isn't having the most advanced technology. It's being able to create what you need from whatever you have." The exercise concluded successfully, with the cadets not only establishing communication, but also coordinating a theoretical planetary defense strategy using their improvised systems. As they began dismantling their makeshift equipment, Kizeth realized that humans had achieved something the Stellar Alliance had never considered: true technological independence through absolute adaptability. The strategic planning chamber surprised Kizeth with its elegant simplicity. Afternoon light filtered through smart glass windows, automatically adjusting to create optimal viewing conditions for both human and crystalline vision. At the center of the room, a three-dimensional holographic display showed various battle scenarios from Earth's history alongside simulated space encounters. "Welcome to Advanced Strategic Theory," Dr. Sarah Paddle said, greeting the ambassador and Admiral Chen. Her dark eyes sparkled with intelligence as she gestured toward the ongoing class discussion. "Today, we're analyzing the parallels between ancient Earth naval warfare and modern space fleet engagement." Kizeth's form shimmered with interest as a cadet stood up to present his analysis. The young man manipulated the holographic display, bringing up an ancient naval battle alongside a recent space skirmish from the Centauri sector. The Battle of Salamis, 480 BC, the cadet began, demonstrates the same fundamental principles we see in the Centauri Nebula engagement. In both cases, the numerically inferior force used environmental conditions to negate their opponent's advantages. The holographic display shifted, showing how the ancient Greek triremes had used narrow straits to neutralize the Persian fleet's superior numbers. Alongside it, a modern space fleet executed an identical maneuver using a nebula's gravitational eddies to similar effect. "Fascinating," Kizeth commented, their crystalline structure resonating with the mathematical precision of the comparison. "You derive modern space tactics from prehistoric water battles." "We derive understanding from everywhere," Dr. Peddle replied. "Humans have been solving complex tactical problems for millennia. The principles remain constant, only the environment changes." Another cadet raised her hand, adding to the discussion. "The key insight isn't just about tactical similarity," she explained, adjusting the hologram to show multiple historical scenarios simultaneously. "It's about understanding how different civilizations think and adapt. Every culture, whether human or alien, develops patterns based on their environmental conditions and technological level." Kizeth watched as she demonstrated how understanding ancient Earth cultures had helped predict and counter various alien combat strategies. The patterns were undeniable and deeply unsettling. Humans weren't just studying military history. They were developing a universal theory of tactical behavior across species and technology levels. "This brings us to psychological warfare," Dr. Patel continued, bringing up a new series of simulations. "Understanding the cultural and evolutionary background of different species allows us to predict their responses to various situations." The display showed a series of first contact scenarios, each highlighting how human diplomatic tactics had been shaped by thousands of years of intercultural conflict and resolution on Earth. Kizeth's form fluctuated between shades of amazement and concern as they realized humans were applying lessons from their own fractured history to interstellar diplomacy with remarkable success. "We find that most species," Admiral Chen added, noting Kizeth's reaction, "tend to assume that technological advancement correlates with tactical sophistication. Humans learned long ago that creativity and adaptability often trump pure technological advantage." A new simulation appeared, showing how a simple understanding of crystalline species' natural resonance frequencies, information derived from studying Earth's mineral formations, could be used to create sophisticated diplomatic or defensive strategies. Kizeth realized with a start that the humans had already developed multiple approaches to both communicate with and, if necessary, counter their own species' natural abilities. "Your species learns not just to adapt," Kizeth observed, their tone carrying a note of revelation, "but to understand at a fundamental level. You don't just study tactics, you study the minds behind them." "The greatest victory," Dr. Patel quoted, "is the battle not fought. By understanding others deeply, we can often find solutions that benefit everyone involved." As the class concluded, Kizeth watched the cadets gathering their materials, each one carrying not just technical knowledge, but a deep appreciation for the psychological and cultural dimensions of interstellar relations. The ambassador realized that Earth's Defense Academy wasn't just creating soldiers, it was developing minds capable of understanding and influencing the very foundations of cosmic civilization. As twilight descended over the Academy grounds, Ambassador Kizeth found themselves questioning their earlier assumptions about human limitations. The darkening sky brought an entirely new dimension to the training exercises, and their crystalline form shimmered with anticipation as they followed Admiral Chen to the night operations field. Many species considered darkness a hindrance, Admiral Chen commented, leading the way through the dimming light. We see it as an opportunity for growth. The training area appeared empty at first glance, but Kazeth's sensitive crystalline structure detected subtle movements in the shadows. Cadets were moving through the darkness with remarkable precision, despite having none of the natural night vision capabilities that many alien species possessed. How are they navigating? Kazeth asked, their form pulsing with curiosity. I detect no active guidance systems or enhancement fields. Lieutenant Commander Jackson, the night operations instructor, stepped forward from the shadows. We teach our students to expand their natural senses rather than rely on technological enhancement, she explained, her voice carrying easily through the evening air. Humans can develop extraordinary sensory awareness when properly trained. As if to demonstrate, a cadet emerged silently from behind Kazeth, moving so smoothly that even the ambassador's sensitive crystalline structure hadn't detected their approach. The students' eyes were closed, yet they navigated the complex terrain without hesitation. Echo mapping, the cadet explained, noting Kazeth's surprised color shift. We learned to read sound reflections, air pressure changes, and thermal variations. The human brain can process far more environmental data than most realize. The demonstration continued as more cadets emerged, each showcasing different aspects of human sensory development. Some used subtle changes in air pressure to track movement, while others demonstrated an ability to detect the minute electrical fields generated by all living beings, a skill Kazeth had believed impossible for non-crystalline life forms. Watch this, Admiral Chen suggested, gesturing to a group of cadets assembling nearby. The students began what appeared to be a complex tactical exercise, coordinating their movements without any visible or audible communication. Kazeth's sensors detected no technology in use, yet the cadets moved with perfect synchronization through the darkness. They're using micro-expressions and subtle body language cues, Lieutenant Commander Jackson explained. Humans can convey remarkable amounts of information through nearly imperceptible physical signals. We've developed this natural capability into a sophisticated communication system that works in total darkness. The exercise escalated as artificial obstacles began appearing randomly throughout the field. Holographic projections mixed with physical barriers. The cadets adapted instantly, their movements flowing like water around each new challenge. They seemed to anticipate changes before they occurred, responding to shifts in the environment that even Kazeth's advanced sensors struggled to detect. Your students appear to be developing precognitive abilities, Kazeth observed, their form flickering with concern. Admiral Chen smiled. Not precognition, pattern recognition. Humans excel at identifying subtle environmental cues that predict coming changes. We've learned to process these signals unconsciously, creating what appears to be foresight, but is actually highly developed situational awareness. The night grew darker, and Kazeth watched as the cadets began incorporating natural phenomena into their training. They used moonlight reflections to create temporary blind spots, turned morning dew into sensor-confusing vapor clouds, and even utilized the electromagnetic properties of Earth's atmosphere to mask their movements. Most species see limitations in their environment, Lieutenant Commander Jackson noted, watching Kazeth's reactions. We teach our students to see possibilities. Every environmental factor, darkness, weather, terrain, can become an advantage if you understand how to work with it rather than against it. As the evening training session concluded, Kazeth realized they were witnessing more than just military education. Humans were actively evolving, not through technology or genetic manipulation, but through the systematic development of their natural capabilities. They weren't just adapting to the challenges of space, they were transforming themselves into something entirely new. The Academy's grand presentation hall buzzed with anticipation as graduating seniors prepared to showcase their final projects. Ambassador Kazeth's crystalline form reflected the morning light in shifting patterns of azure and gold, their excitement barely contained as they took their place beside Admiral Chen in the observation gallery. Today's demonstrations, Admiral Chen explained, represent the culmination of our training philosophy. Each graduate must present an innovation that bridges multiple disciplines. The first presenter stepped forward, a tall cadet named Michael Chen. He placed what appeared to be a simple river stone on the demonstration platform. Kazeth's sensors detected nothing unusual about the object until the cadet touched it. My project explores the quantum properties of naturally occurring minerals. Michael began. By understanding the crystalline structures found in common rocks, we can create organic quantum computers that require no artificial components. The stone hummed to life, projecting a complex holographic display. Kazeth's form pulsed with surprise as they realized the rock wasn't just displaying information. It was actively processing quantum calculations using nothing but its natural lattice structure. The Earth itself is filled with potential technology, Michael continued. We simply needed to learn how to awaken it. The next presentation came from Sarah Rodriguez, who entered the stage carrying what looked like traditional musical instruments. My research combined sonic harmonics with neural enhancement, she explained, arranging the instruments in a precise pattern. As she began to play, Kazeth felt their crystalline structure resonating with the music. The sound patterns weren't just beautiful. They were actually enhancing neural processing capabilities in all present organisms, including Kazeth's own crystalline consciousness. Music has always affected the human brain, Sarah explained, continuing to play. I've developed a way to use traditional musical patterns to enhance cognitive function and create temporary neural networks between individuals, allowing for instant, intuitive communication across species. Project after project demonstrated similar breakthroughs, each combining ancient human practices with advanced scientific understanding. One cadet showed how traditional meditation techniques could be used to manually control quantum entanglement. Another demonstrated a method of using dance movements to generate and direct energy fields. Your graduates aren't just creating new technology, Kazeth observed to Admiral Chen, their form shifting through shades of realization. They're rediscovering abilities that were always possible but never understood. Exactly, the Admiral replied. Humans have spent millennia developing different ways of interacting with the universe. We're now learning that many of our ancient practices had scientific foundations we never fully grasped. The final presentation of the day came from twins, James and Emma Foster. They stepped onto the stage empty-handed, which immediately caught Kazeth's attention. Our research, Emma began, focuses on human potential itself. We've discovered that the human body, when properly trained, can directly manipulate quantum fields without any technological assistance. The twins demonstrated by creating a visible distortion in space between them, their movements synchronized like a choreographed dance. Kazeth's sensors detected complex quantum interactions occurring at the atomic level around the graduates. By understanding both the scientific principles and our own natural capabilities, James explained, we can achieve effects that once required advanced technology. The human body and mind, working in harmony, can interact with the fundamental forces of the universe. As the demonstrations concluded, Kazeth found themselves processing an uncomfortable revelation. Humans weren't just learning to use technology. They were becoming living technology themselves. Each graduate represented a fusion of ancient wisdom and modern science, creating something entirely new in the process. Remember, Ambassador, Admiral Chen said softly, noting Kazeth's thoughtful shimmer, everything you've seen today is just the beginning. These graduates will continue to explore, discover, and evolve. The question isn't what technology humans can create, but what humans themselves might become. Aboard their crystalline vessel in Earth's orbit, Ambassador Kazeth sat in their meditation chamber, their forms cycling through a spectrum of colors as they composed their report to the Stellar Alliance High Council. The chamber's walls, usually transparent to allow view of the stars, had grown opaque to match their deep contemplation. Begin recording, Kazeth commanded, their forms settling into a formal shade of diplomatic blue. Priority message to the High Council regarding Earth's Defense Academy assessment. The ship's organic crystals hummed in response, ready to capture every nuance of Kazeth's report. They paused, carefully choosing their words to convey the magnitude of what they had witnessed. Esteemed council members, my evaluation of Earth's military training capabilities has led me to conclusions that will require a fundamental reassessment of our understanding of human potential. What I observed was not merely a military academy, it was an evolution laboratory. Kazeth's form shifted to analytical green as they began detailing their observations. Humans have developed methods of training that transcend our traditional understanding of species development. They are not simply advancing their technology. They are transforming themselves at a fundamental level. The ambassador's crystalline structure rippled as they projected recordings of the training sessions. Their approach to education combines physical conditioning, psychological development, and technological innovation in ways we had previously considered impossible. They have learned to enhance their natural capabilities without relying on artificial augmentation. Images of the cadets performing various exercises filled the chamber. The humans have discovered how to manually control quantum fields, develop advanced sensory capabilities, and create technology from natural materials. Most concerning, they have learned to adapt and innovate at speeds that defy our predictive models. Kazeth's color deepened to a thoughtful purple. What makes humans truly remarkable is not their current capabilities, but their rate of development. Each new class of graduates demonstrates abilities that would have seemed impossible to the previous generation. They are not merely learning. They are actively evolving. The ambassador's form flickered with urgency as they continued. The Stellar Alliance must understand. Earth's Defense Academy is not producing soldiers in the traditional sense. They are creating something entirely new. Individuals who can seamlessly blend primitive and advanced techniques, who can turn any environment to their advantage, who can rebuild advanced technology from basic materials. Recordings of the graduation demonstrations played across the chamber walls. These humans are learning to access abilities that most species achieve only through millions of years of evolution or advanced technological enhancement. They have found ways to accelerate their own development while maintaining their connection to their primitive roots. Kazeth's color shifted to the solemn gold of formal recommendation. Based on my observations, I strongly advise the following. First, we must update our assessment of human military capabilities. Their potential for adaptation and innovation far exceeds our previous estimates. Second, we should immediately expand our diplomatic initiatives with Earth. These humans would be far better as allies than potential adversaries. The ambassador paused, their form shimmering with an insight. Perhaps most importantly, we must recognize that our traditional metrics for measuring species advancement may need revision. The humans have demonstrated that technological sophistication alone is not the true measure of a species' capability. Kazeth's form settled into a final, resolute shade of deep blue. In conclusion, while Earth's Defense Academy appears disarmingly simple on the surface, it represents one of the most sophisticated development programs I have encountered in my diplomatic career. The humans are not just training defenders, they are actively guiding their own evolution, creating something new in the process. End recording. Kazeth commanded, their form returning to its natural state. As they gazed down at the Earth below, they reflected that the planet's deceptively simple appearance mirrored its inhabitants, concealing remarkable complexity and potential beneath an unassuming exterior. The true nature of humanity, Kazeth realized, was not in their technology or their training, but in their endless capacity for growth and transformation.